Hey, it's Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com, and today we're talking about 3 steps to a successful coffee date. I mean, who says your dates have to start off with a super serious flowers, fancy candlelight dinner? Save the heavy stuff for later because, well, if you're going in with super high expectations, it's going to put a lot of pressure on him to make it work, and it's going to feel that way to you. So having that elephant in the room is not how you want to kick things off with the special guy. Now, in my experience, I've learned that coffee dates are your best bet. I found it's an excellent way for easing your way into that very delicate, getting to know you, first start kind of thing. Now, that being said, I want to share with you 3 steps to help you turn this caffeinated meetup into something a little more serious down the road. Reason number 1 is it's an easy place for you to start. It's easy ground to start on. I've actually started out a handful of my previous relationships this way. Meeting up in a coffee shop is a lot lighter, a lot more relaxed, and it's a lot more practical and realistic when you're trying to get to know a stranger or somebody that you haven't met before. So if you're meeting a guy online or you met him at a party or some other venue where you didn't get a lot of interaction, coffee date is a great way to start. Reason number 2 is that a coffee date is casual and it's a very low-key investment. You know, you don't have to spend a whole lot to buy a coffee, and you don't have to spend a lot of time. You don't want to be caught with 3 hours with a person that you decide in the first 10 minutes is not going to work out. So take that advice to heart. And reason number 3 is, if things are good, then a coffee date leaves room for flexibility. You can always turn it into something a little bit more. You can extend it if you want, but at least you're starting with a good, healthy boundary and a short investment of your time. So what are the 3 steps to this hot coffee date? Well, the first is location, location, location. You got to choose a good coffee shop, one that you're familiar with and that you hopefully know the staff. You want to feel at home and comfortable there. When you go to a new environment, you're going to be dealing with feeling out of place and weird in that environment, not to mention kind of out of place with a whole new person. You don't want that. Use a place that you've been to before and you're fairly familiar with. Not to mention, there's also a social proof element. When he sees you being comfortable in your own skin and feeling comfortable in the environment and people that might even know you there or even know you by name, you're already scoring points before the date has even started. Okay, this is a good chance for you to observe also how he relates to the staff and how he treats people there. You want to watch for this because this is one of the best indicators of a guy's personality, is how he treats other people. Step number 2 is, well, first of all, brew yourself up a plan. Have a goal in mind. Think of a coffee date as being a quick interview where you get to screen them out before things get taken to the next level or get a little bit more serious. It's not meant to be a drawn-out meeting. You want to wait, obviously, for that, for the actual date. Your number 1 priority right at this moment is just to figure out if this guy is a possibility. He's never going to be a yes, absolutely. He might not even be a no, definitely not. He's probably going to be a maybe, and you've got to feel out the rest of that on the coffee date. So that means your little meetup should be just a short and sweet one, maybe a half an hour, just enough to find out if he is that maybe. And again, if you want to, nothing's set in stone here. You can totally extend it and spend more time with him if you find things are going well. Make sure you arrive early, but don't look like you're anxiously waiting for him. Have a book, have your Kindle out, have your tablet, but be doing something when he arrives. The next thing is you want to make sure that you have some questions that you can ask him. Most of the time, you're going to ask him the obvious stuff about his job or his career. Be careful, stay away from how much he makes, okay? And if he brings it up, well, that's kind of a warning sign right there. Basically, you should just be finding out a little bit about what his work is. What is it that excites him, and what is it that gets him emotionally involved? What is it that brings out his emotions? That's going to tell you a lot about the person underneath all that. So ask things about his family, his friends, his hobbies. Have some questions to cover, and even some power questions. Those are ones that I cover in some of my programs. Those are questions that are specifically focused on finding out what this guy is really all about. It cuts through all the BS and the small talk and saves you a lot of time. Not a lot of game playing to be had here. It gets you right to the bottom line. So step 3 is very simple. Take the next step or wrap this thing up. In other words, if it makes sense, you're going to move on to setting a date possibly. If it doesn't make sense, you're going to want to cut this thing off. Now, stick with it. That's when you find out that, yeah, you can actually get something out of this situation. You can still get something out of the experience. Even if it's a bad one, you could even get some improvement in your social skills by making it all the way to the half-hour mark. But absolutely, if you need to get out of there, you can always set that up in advance. Just make sure you have your girlfriend, who's your, I call them the life preserver. You call them up while you're in the restroom and say, hey, call me in 10 minutes, and I'll just pretend that I've got an emergency I got to go to. It's a way out if you had to, but most of the time you won't have to do that. What you do want to be prepared for is the positive side of this. If you want to meet up with this guy again, then have a let's meet again real soon plan already in place. When you've been talking to him on this little mini coffee date, you should have been listening for key things that you guys could share and where you could go from here, whether that's a new restaurant, whether it's an event or activity that you both share. You should be listening for that the whole time. Remember that guys today are a lot more shy, a lot more hesitant, and a lot more reserved when it comes to asking women out. Let's face it, society today is not as friendly to guys hitting on girls or, trying to be sexually aggressive. He doesn't know what the new rules are as far as the dating scene. So be prepared that he might be a little bit shy. If he throws it out there, hey, I was thinking we should do something this weekend, but he's kind of vague, you got to seize that and make something of it. Say something like, hey, that sounds great. You know what? I got to take care of some stuff on Saturday, but you know what? Friday is good for me. You want me to pencil you in? Then you just let him make the plans after that. Give him a chance to fill in the details. Let him take the reins. He wants to do that, and he wants to have a hand in the planning. He doesn't want you to take over for him. Now, even if he seems like he's a bit cool or he might be a bit standoffish, it is possible to get him feeling those butterflies of infatuation for you, so he'll want to go way beyond just friends. You can take the next step. Just go on over and take a look at the short video I put together, and it's a presentation on the breakdown of what it takes to push a guy over the edge and have him fall for you completely. Go on over to datingadviceguru.com/forever. That's datingadviceguru.com/forever, where I'm going to teach you about the secret password to a man's heart. This is Carlos Cavallo, and I'll be talking again soon.